Hello friends, Mali Panpadith here, CEO of the SOAR Community Network and co-founder of the SOAR Community Nebula. I'm delighted to bring to you champions of change and community builders from all over the world through this series. And today I am so happy to bring to you Dr. Fluor Blindenbach. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mali, for having me. That's really awesome that you organize these events. It's, yeah.
Thank you so much. Well, I was being careful to pronounce your name properly, so I hope I did it justice.
You did an awesome job. It's not an easy name. I apologize for that.
No apologies. It's beautiful. Wear it proudly. So I would love for you to introduce yourself to our audience now and share more about the work that you're currently doing in the world and what inspires you to do it.
Okay. So perhaps a little bit, I'm the founder of Organizing for Innovation, and perhaps an example will help mostly to explain what I do and I think why our work is pretty much aligned. So take, for instance, a lawyer, and we'll make her Jane and make her 35 years old and say that she does in patent law. Someone like that is very much aware that nowadays, like with AI and big data, her world will change. So what is she going to do? Is she going to hope for the best for the next, 25, 30 years that she practices the law, that she can still do it the way she currently does it? Or is she going to embrace some of these new technologies and integrate that into her current service offerings and see if she can service her clients better and cheaper, and perhaps also reach clients that she currently cannot serve, like the underserved, because she can lower the price of her offerings? And what we have seen is that, a lawyer in such a position, it's not just about adopting a new technology. It's also bringing your organization along. It's looking at really what the clients need. And there's also a project component to it, because you can dream where you want to be, but now you are here. So how do you get from here to there? And that brings me to basically what Organizing for Innovation does. We help lawyers or other professionals and service providers bring their ideas to practice. And basically what we help is them to work on their ideas and put it into a business case or plan by focusing on all these aspects of looking at the market, looking at the organization they work for, looking at the project, and looking at the solution, so they can create like a comprehensive new service offering that their clients would want to use and that the organization is willing to support in the development, because often you need to make some kind of an investment in these innovation projects.
Right.
So that's basically how we help our clients along.
What I appreciate is that you're building a case. So it's not going in and simply having a great idea and pitching a presentation. Through this opportunity, through this platform, you're building a case, you're looking at metrics so that when you're pitching, you're coming from a place of knowledge and wisdom and data. So I do want to really reiterate that as a way to describe this wonderful application and platform that you're creating.
Oh, I really appreciate that. Yeah, because we have gone through this transition ourselves as well. I started out as I've done years of research in this area, in like how do you innovate in the services. But then I started out as an innovation consultant and doing this one-on-one. And now we also have tried to productize, so to speak, our own service application so that we can service a broader community. And indeed, like through the platform and through the data, help bring people together, help them build teams, and really make data-driven decisions instead of like based on gut feel or without a clear process direction, and really focusing on the biggest challenges. And with that, we can also help these teams avoid the most common pitfalls. So
I think I have to say this, and I know I don't want to get too off track with our interview. I have to say that it's such a valuable tool, especially with small and rapidly growing organizations when the teams are growing as well, and you have a diverse team. So as a visionary, I know that characteristically and personality-wise, I'm a big visionary. So I can dream up ideas. I can see the big picture years out. And that's a valuable asset to have in an organization. However, the logical, tangible, pragmatic process-driven personality, like the integrator of an organization, is just as equally valuable. And I think using a tool like this allows the visionary to also, again, speak a language to those that are helping to create the processes and systems to actualize that vision. So it's an opportunity to not just have the integrators looking at the visionaries like you're crazy, and the visionaries getting frustrated because they're not able to, without this tool, really build a case because they're going primarily on gut feeling. So it's a wonderful way to integrate.
Yeah, that's also what we see from our first users. Like we have one nurse practitioner who's very passionate about her goal in making healthcare more accessible. And I said too, like to help you achieve that goal, you also need to look at the business side of things, because that's what your hospital director, like they need to invest in. It's a telemedicine solution in your solution. And for that, they look purely at the numbers, not only at that you can reach more patients. So you need to look at that integrated approach. And so if you, even as a visionary, if you want to reach your goals, we can help you work through the things that you may not be very passionate about, but that just are a necessary thing that need to happen, and help you focus it, and also help you build a team, find team members that perhaps can help you take some of these tasks that don't come very naturally to you. Yeah. That's
fantastic. All right. So the next question is going to tap into something a little bit more personal for you, which is in your life. Could you share a story or perhaps highlight someone in your life that's made a huge difference? Someone who is mindful, conscious, a great mentor, someone who's helped shift you into the person that you are today, into being someone who wants to create efficiencies and change your world, change your community?
There are so many people that have inspired me along this journey. So I think one person would be very difficult to say, but let's just take one, perhaps a crazy example here, and she is my grandmother of all people. She had the blessing to become really old, like 110, which is quite admirable, yes. But I think, and so many people ask me, so like, well, it's in the genes, but I don't think that's in the genes only. She always kept learning. So at the age of 90, when a lot of her friends passed away and her whole bridge group kind of passed away, she did not sit down and was sad about it. She looked at us, her grandchildren, and said like, so you play all these games. I've heard you can also play bridge on the computer. Teach me. And so at the age of 90, we got her an email account so she could converse with, I have also other cousins that are across the ocean. And so I think that really inspired me. You're never too old to learn. And just whatever comes at your way, just learn new things. Don't sit down and be sad about it, but be inspired and look at the opportunities that are out there instead of like looking at what you can't do anymore. Yeah.
Well, perhaps innovation is in your genes, even though it's not all in the genes, but I love that. Okay, so when you think of community builders and champions of change and for change, are there attributes and characteristics that you admire or that are consistent in those types of folks that when you look at them, you're like, wow, they really are advocating for missions. They're out there creating greater social impact.
Well, what I found, for instance, wonderful in the entrepreneurship community, on the one hand, is cutthroat to kind of get funding and investors. They're really looking purely like from a commercial perspective and only at the money side. It sometimes feels like that. And at the same time, if you look at the community itself, people are very willing to give time. And I've had so many fantastic mentors that were so generous in giving feedback and helping you understand. Even at a recent networking event, like a company that was very successful, they so openly shared like some of their challenges, how they went with social media, which I think is something like a lot of smaller companies are struggling with. Many of us are not too versed. There are so many opportunities out there, like what should you do, what you shouldn't do. And so how generous people are with giving advice, giving their time in this entrepreneurship community, I found that, and even in your networking events, also like sharing and mirroring and saying like, this is what I hear, helping you strengthen your message. So that is something I greatly admire.
Great. So as you think of yourself as a community builder or a change agent, I'm going to ask you to think of yourself as that for a moment. Are there any missions or movements or initiatives that you're helping to advance right now? What do you care about?
Well, I care about, I'm a chemical engineer by training. I started out, I have a master's degree in chemical engineering, and I studied chemical engineering because I wanted to make the world a greener place. And throughout the journey, that's also, I was successful when I worked for Fluor. I was recognized for that. They made me what they call them performance consultant, because I always came up with better ideas. And that drove me into the current direction, because I've seen that many service providers, whether they're engineers, lawyers, physicians, they have the knowledge, the skill set, they often have access to the capital to change the world for the better. And at the same time, because these professions are very different, scalability is very different than a product firms. So if we really want to tap into the power of these very bright individuals, we need to give them the tools to do so. And that's what really inspires me. So how can we help lawyers, clinicians, engineers, chemical engineers make the world a better place? And for that, I started on LinkedIn a group, Innovators in the Professional Services. And to really see how we, with the background and all the privilege that we've had, because most have had, even myself, like been so privileged, like you were the smartest in school, you got all your college degrees, and everything comes quite easily to you. So how can we use all the knowledge we gained to make the world a better place, instead of like looking at whether it's inequality, whether it's at the climate, whether it's at the environment, whether it's at the big garbage patch in the ocean. There are so many things that need solutions, and bigger solutions or different approaches. And I think what we also need to realize that it often starts very small. And that's what I've seen with many of the initiatives that I'm working on. You need to dream big, but you need not to be afraid to start small. And many of even of the big companies that started very small, think about something like Airbnb, that like it started literally with an air mattress being rented out. So often small ideas can have a huge ripple effect. So that would be a message I would like to give along, like dream big, but you need to start small to make things happen. Yeah.
Yes, no, I love that. And I love the idea of starting small and then collectively looking at all of the folks that are doing these small movements toward greater change, and then bringing them all together, so that all the small movements collectively now create these huge ripple effects. I think that that's really important as we talk about community building. Not only are we allowing for individuals to identify the things that they're able to do in the world, but then having them share that with others, so there's more collaboration and masterminding, expanding on one idea into multiple ideas. So that's the power of innovation. It's not only that you've come up with a better way to do it, but now you're able to share it and then bring forth additional support and expansion through ideation, through more innovation and group thinking. Anyway, crowdsourcing. Okay, so life has not always been easy for any of us, right? Challenges happen in the world of entrepreneurship. Challenges seem like they happen every day sometimes from one minute to the next. As you've gone through challenging moments in life and in your entrepreneurial journey, is there a quote, a motto, or any type of philosophy that you can share and impart to help ground us in the world? What helps to ground you?
My husband always sweetly says, always keep smiling. and look at the bright side of things. We've had, like, with a dual career, it's not always been easy. We've had, even in our marriage, to work on both sides of the ocean, which with 3 kids, that's really a challenge for both of us. But if you look at the things that you have and be grateful for that, and not always look at the things that you don't have, that's for me an important motto. That every evening, like, take a moment of reflection and be very grateful for all the things that have come your way so far, and just be very thankful and grateful for that. I think that gives you a lot of energy to also work on the things that you may want to change, or where you see, like, you're not perhaps personally in the best place, or your clients are not in the best place to move forward.
Gratitude is so important. I'm so in agreement with that. So as we wrap up this interview, Fluor, I'd love for you to share with us, if you could dream up and imagine a better world, what would it look like? What needs to happen?
I wish that with everything we do, we also look at it from a sustainability perspective. That we not only look for the short gains, but think how things impact for the longer term. And whether it's buying clothing or buying your food, or how can we make this planet more durable, use less resources, and be, how do you say that? We cannot forbid, for instance, someone in the Amazon to put fires because they need food, because and while we are driving in our cars. That's like, we need to be conscious that we all need to contribute our own parts. People in the Amazon need to do their part, but we in the Western world need to do our parts as well.
Right. I think it comes down to remembering that we're all interconnected. Like, we can't be separate. We're all connected in this beautiful world. As we come to the close of this interview, Fluor, what is the best way for our community to learn more about your application, your platform, your movement for innovation, and also connect with you?
Well, a good thing of having a unique name, Fluor Blindenbach, is that there are not 2 people like that on the planet. So you can easily find me on LinkedIn. I have my own website, Organizing for Innovation, with a numeric 4. So it's organizing with a numeric 4, innovation.com. And there you can find more on our platform. That's the T4 platform, for the 4 aspects. I think that are the best ways to find me. So either Fluor Blindenbach or Organizing for Innovation. I think that's but thank you.
Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Thank you for keeping us on the cusp of always thinking and creating new ways of doing and being. We really appreciate the commitment that you have made for innovation and creativity. So it's much appreciated. The world cannot continue to do what it's doing, so we have to innovate and think outside the box. So thank you for building tools that will allow us to do that more effectively and efficiently.
Well, and thank you for creating a community where we can share these ideas and thoughts. So really appreciate that, Mali.
Honored to have you be a part of it. For those that are watching, thank you so very much for being with us and for journeying with us as we bring to you these brilliant, extraordinary souls, human beings who are creating positive ripple effects. Please remember to nominate yourself or someone in your community who we could feature and highlight, and visit us at nebula.soar communitynetwork.com. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.